I'm sorry, I've just realised that we didn't have any sound on, so I'm actually going to start again. I just realised the microphone wasn't on, so I do apologise with that. So in the news this week, the Mayor of Weymouth, Councillor Anne Weaver, has planted an oak tree in remembrance of the Queen Elizabeth II. Volunteers were also encouraged to plant trees, nature trees at Luvio Road in Weymouth for the Queen's Green Canopy project. The new trees will create habitat for wildlife, enhance the landscape and slow down climate change. Mayor of Weymouth, Councillor Anne Weaver, said it's lovely to have been invited to another tree planting event to commemorate the Queen Elizabeth II's green canopy. It's also great to be joined by local communities who are planting trees which will help climate change. If you want to know more about the Queen's Green Canopy, it's www.queensgreencanopy.org. Now, firefighters in Weymouth have issued a warning to motorists after a fire engine had to squeeze through an extremely tight gap at Franklin Road, Weymouth. A picture was posted on social media which showed a fire engine driving down Franklin Road in Weymouth on Wednesday this week with very little space between parked cars on each side. The firefighter who took the picture said thankfully they weren't responding to emergency at the time. However, Dorset Wilts Fire Service has warned that roads like these can cause serious problems for their emergency vehicles. A spokesman for the service said, in streets like these, thoughtless parking can prevent engines getting through. Every second counts when firefighters are responding to a 999 call. Time spent trying to squeeze between parked cars could put lives at risk. Our smallest appliance needs a minimum of 3 metres or the width of 2 cars to pass safely. If you called for help, would you want to know we're getting through? Poor or inconsiderate parking, even if only for a few minutes, can delay us during an emergency call, and in the case of a rapidly developing fire, every second counts. Now, officers from Dorset Police are appealing for witnesses or anyone with information to come forward after they're investigating an attempted robbery in Weymouth. The victim, a 17-year-old boy, was walking along Wyke Road at around 3:30 p.m. on Saturday the 28th of January when he heard a man shouting at him from the other side of the road. The man crossed the road and approached him before demanding money. The man put his hand into his trousers as if he was reaching for something, and the victim then fled the scene. He did not hand over any money. Excuse me. The offender is described as white with blonde hair and a beard. He has a teardrop tattoo under his eye and was wearing a grey hooded top. He was also carrying a black rucksack. Police Constable Sam Hill of Weymouth said, "We are conducting inquiries to identify the man involved in this incident, and I would urge any witnesses to please come forward and contact Dorset Police." Dorset police officers are also investigating the theft of a caravan in West Dorset and are appealing for witnesses or information. Dorset Police received a report at 6:42 p.m. on Monday the 30th of January relating to the theft of a caravan from an address in the area of Fernhill near Charmouth. It was reported that around 6:20 p.m. the white and grey Hobby 645 VIP caravan had been stolen from a field where it was being stored. It was believed to have been towed away by a dark-coloured Mitsubishi SUV and travelled in the direction of Bridport before heading from the Crown roundabout towards Burton Bradstock on the B3157 Coast Road. The victim subsequently located the caravan in a field in the Abbotsbury area, and the Mitsubishi that had been towing it made off from the scene, leaving the caravan behind. Police Constable Dan Goswell of Dorset Police said, "We are continuing to investigate this incident, and I'm keen to hear from anyone who may have witnessed the caravan travelling from Charmouth area to the Abbotsbury area on the evening of Monday the 30th of January. Now, I know lots of people from Weymouth do enjoy a drive along the coast there to West Bay and Bridport, so if you saw anything, Dorset Police would like to hear from you. As ever, you can contact them on 101 or by calling Crime Stoppers if you wish to give the information anonymously on 0800 555 111. Now, plans to build a helipad at Dorset County Hospital, in fact a new helipad I should say, because they have already got one, have taken a major step forward thanks to a £2 million pledge from the Help Appeal. The Help Appeal is the only charity in the country that funds NHS hospital helipads. Dorset County Hospital plans to build a brand new emergency department and critical care unit on the former Damer school site, as part of the government's new hospital programme that will see 40 new hospitals built by 2030. As part of the build, the Trust plans include a new helipad on the roof. This will replace the existing landing pad based at ground level next to the current emergency department, which would not be able to accept flights with the new building. The new helipad will also be fitted with a firefighting system that, if ever needed, will put out the fire in 15 seconds. It will also allow a patient to be transferred quickly and comfortably via a lift directly into the hospital, maintaining their privacy and dignity. The Help Appeal has donated over £35 million nationally in non-repairable grants to fund life-saving helipads at major trauma centres and A&E hospitals around the country since 2009. The charity has pledged its support to DCH and presented the first £1 million instalment, and we've got a picture of that which I'm going to put up in a second for you. Presented the first £1 million instalment, which will fund the helipad's construction on the rooftop of the new emergency department and critical care unit. And here's the presentation of that £1 million. Nick Johnson, who's the interim chief executive of Dorset County Hospital, said, "We are incredibly grateful to the Help Appeal for their generous support by funding a new helipad to be built as part of the construction of a brand new emergency department and critical care unit on the former Damer School site. We're fortunate to have a helipad at DCH. It allows us to provide crucial critical care quickly and ultimately help save lives. The new helipad will be a huge benefit to our patient staff and air ambulance crews." Now, more information on the Help Appeal, if you'd like to support them, because they are supporting our local hospital, can be found at www.helpappeal.org.uk. A wonderful charity there to help, who's putting helipads into A&E and regional trauma centres so that the air ambulance can land safely and get patients quickly into hospitals. Now, Dorset and Wilts Fire and Rescue Authority has approved its budget for 2023-24, totalling a £65.99 million. At its meeting on the 8th of February, the authority agreed to increase its share of the council tax by £5. That's less than 10p per week for Band D properties in Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, Dorset, Swindon and Wiltshire. An annual fire precept for Band D of £84.43 a year for the Fire and Rescue Service, starting on the 1st of April 2023. Chief Fire Officer Ben Ansell said elected members and officers have been working with our 15 MPs across Dorset and Wiltshire, the Home Office, DLUHC and the National Fire Chiefs Council to seek the freedoms and flexibilities to increase the fire precept for Band D properties by a modest £5 per year or just 10p per week. I'm pleased that this flexibility has been offered to us for 2023-24. This additional funding does relieve some of the financial pressures we are under, but we still must find savings where we can. We are a lean service with a strong track record of performance, efficiency savings and ensuring value for money. Our recent inspection by His Majesty's Inspector of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services inspection rated us as outstanding in efficiency. We continue to face financial challenges and will need to work extremely hard to maintain levels of prevention, protection and emergency response to our communities. So there we go, that's the precept set for the Fire and Rescue Service. Now, two of Dorset's adult hospices, Dorchester-based Weymouth Hospice Care and the Lewis Manning Hospice Care at Poole, have joined the Dorset Care Record. The hospices, which offer free of charge specialist palliative nursing care to people with life-limiting illnesses, will be able to receive the most up-to-date information available from health and social care organisations across the county. They will also be able to provide end-of-life care information which will be useful to other Dorset Care Record partners. Hospices in Dorset take patient referrals from different sources, from hospitals, GPs or community healthcare professionals. Often these are complex cases as patients have tended to move around health and social care systems in the months leading up to hospice care. It is often challenging for hospices to get the relevant patient information from different health and care organisations. So having read-only access to the Dorset Care Record will enable them to have a comprehensive understanding of the patient's medications. So the Dorset Care Record is the central record of patients, the information that GP practices populate and hospitals populate, and this will now be available on a read-only basis to the hospices in Dorset, so they've got good information on patients, and they will also be able to input information for GPs and hospitals to see as well. So that's a good information sharing there in the interests of patients. Event organisers in Weymouth are being invited to apply for free parking to support their event in 2023, thanks to a partnership between Weymouth Town Council and Dorset Council. 4 dates are available in 2023 when local organisations can use selected car parks for free for exciting events that will attract both residents and visitors to enjoy a day out in the town centre. Local charities and community groups that are Weymouth based can now request which car parks they would like to use free of charge by completing a short online survey. The survey runs until 9 AM on Monday the 20th of February, so another week to go on that. Last year, events like the Beach Motocross, Remembrance Sunday and the Christmas Lights Switch On drew big crowds to our seaside town. Now, to apply, you can go to the Weymouth Town Council website and look for that survey, or if you're having trouble with that, you can email events@weymouthtowncouncil.gov.uk to request a form. So that's events@weymouthtowncouncil.gov.uk where you can request a form. Now, South Western Railway's customers are being warned that last through trains from Weymouth to Waterloo and Waterloo to Weymouth will be much earlier than usual due to emergency engineering works in Hook from this Monday the 13th of February. This is because trains will not run between Farnborough and Basingstoke after 10 in the evening from Monday the 13th to Thursday the 23rd of February. The normal South Western Railway's timetable is expected to resume on Friday the 24th of February. South Western Railways is strongly urging customers travelling between London and the South Coast and the West of England between Monday the 13th and the 23rd to check the last train times and travel earlier if possible. Now, the earlier shutdown is to allow Network Rail more time to continue the works to that landslip area in the Hook area. Now, the last train from London Waterloo to Weymouth will leave at London Waterloo at 9:35, and the last train from Weymouth to London Waterloo will leave at 1 minute to 8. So that's 21:35 or 9:35 from London Waterloo to Weymouth, and 1 minute to 8 or 19:59 from Weymouth to Waterloo until the 23rd of February. Customers should check their entire journey as engineering works are also taking place in other parts of the South Western Railways network. Christian Neal, South West Railways Service Delivery Director, said, "We're sorry for the disruption this will cause as Network Rail engineers complete the restoration of the South West main line following the landslip at Hook in January. Whilst we appreciate this will be disruptive, we are getting closer to restoring our normal timetable, which we intend to do on Friday the 24th of February. Our customers have been very patient over the last month and we're very grateful for that." An event which promises to take Weymouth back to prehistoric times will begin this weekend. Following the success of last year's event, the Dinosaur Trail, which is organised by the We Are Weymouth group, starts again this weekend and will see 5 life-size dinosaurs at various locations across the town. The launch event will be tomorrow, Sunday the 12th of February, and it will begin and include baby dinosaurs and their handlers, a giant dinosaur egg, and visits from a Spinosaurus and a raptor. Dawn Rondo, Chief Operations Officer at We Are Weymouth, said the 2022 Dinosaur Trail in Weymouth was such a huge success, drawing visitors and locals out to explore the town and celebrate our Jurassic history, that we really wanted to build on that in 2023. We are excited to offer new dinosaur installations in many unusual locations, plus enhancing it with 3 dinosaur paw trail. To kick the activities off, we're excited to be delivering a fabulous free-to-attend launch event in the town centre and promenade if weather permits. With workshops taking place in businesses throughout the town, the portrail will, with great prizes to be won and life-size dinosaurs, we're offering a lot to do whilst really connecting to our Jurassic past. Dinosaurs can be seen at Bowley's Cove and the Lookout Cafe, the Palm House at Swannery Wharf, the Nose Tavern, Nautico Lounge, as well as the Royal Hotel, if you want to discover those installations. Now, they've put out the information about this launch event tomorrow, but they haven't said what time it is. It's obviously in the town centre and on the promenade if weather permits, but we don't know the time. I've actually been on the We Are Weymouth website and there's no time on there either, but I guess it will be sometime late morning or round about lunchtime in Weymouth. Just pop on down there or check the We Are Weymouth website in the morning to see if they've realised they haven't put a time on there. And finally, motorists will have to contend with 10 road closures across the county this month to allow for resurfacing works to take place. The maintenance is designed to prolong the life of roads by coating them with a waterproof seal that also increases skid resistance, and this follows up similar works a month or so ago, including the Portland Road here in Wyke, Regis. Dorset Highway's annual road maintenance programme includes a mixture of surface dressing as well as patching, microsurfacing and road preservation and resurfacing. To allow the work to take place safely, the area of the road being worked on will be closed. Daytime road closures are 9 AM to 4 PM and night work is usually 8 PM to 6 AM. Now the ones in the south of the county around Weymouth include the following: daytime work in Connaught Road, so that will be closed between 9 AM and 4 PM, February the 13th to the 17th, and also Glennie Way Chickerell, February the 14th to the 16th. So those are daytime closures. Nighttime closures will take place on Radipole Lane, February the 21st to 24th. So that's between 8 PM and 6 AM. And that's the end of our headlines this evening. Now, I don't know if you've ever visited Portland Museum. The museum houses a maritime collection that tells the story of the island's nautical history. Displays include items recovered from the shipwrecks of the Earl of Abergavenny and the Royal Adelaide, just two of the numerous ships lost in local waters. Now, when I was a scuba diver, I've certainly dived the Royal Adelaide many times, and I think I've done the Earl of Abergavenny as well, but I've definitely done the Royal Adelaide. Now, back at the end of 2021, Portland Museum was delighted to announce that they had won some national funding to record the finds from the Earl of Abergavenny digitally in 3D images and to catalogue them. And they put together a video explaining that project, and we're going to see that now.
For a small museum to take on that challenge is admirable.
The Earl of Abergavenny was one of the East India Company ships. It was one of the biggest of the ships. They came down the channel and they passed the Portland Bill, headed out into the Atlantic, and the weather got worse. The gales were blowing from the southwest and it was badly battered and it sank in Weymouth Bay. We used to come down here and dive and trying to document it.
That's resulted in thousands of objects from this one wreck coming to the surface. That collection has now come to Portland Museum, and Portland Museum have taken on the challenge of curating and looking after that collection and telling the story of the ship and the people that are on board that ship.
It's a Heritage Lottery Fund project, and the idea of the project is to update and develop digital skills for volunteers in the heritage sector.
The project was divided into really three elements. We intended to train 40 people in doing digital imaging of artefacts.
Today we are teaching and running a 3D heritage recording workshop for volunteers of the museum. You want to try to keep an even distance between you and the artifact. So just start playing around with it now. We'll get to any questions that arise. It's a flexible recording method that uses photos to essentially record an object in 3 dimensions.
Almost 100% of the technology I'm looking at today is for the first time in my life. I was doing it with ink pens and rulers and set squares and things 30, 40 years ago. And now to see this, it's just amazing.
We're very lucky to have a trustee who's an archaeologist and that's worked for the National Trust for many, many years, and she's taking the condition assessment training.
It's the bit between digging the stuff up, finding the stuff, and then it going on display. It's all that research, all that care, all that work that we have to do after. You can use that training for every other object in the museum.
I thought it was a good opportunity to actually get, hands-on with the artefacts maybe, and, just get more involved really with what's going on.
It interests me, and I'm looking forward to learning more.
It's going well, but we're now discovering smaller items are even trickier than the bigger items, so that's another learning curve.
Today we've been making 3D models of artefacts. This is a deadeye. We took loads of pictures of each side of it from every angle in this lovely light box, so you can see all the textures. And now we can upload this onto the internet and everyone can see it.
Being in school and being a teacher, I've been thinking of how to use the 3D scanning and imaging. I now have the confidence to go and teach younger people, my friends.
With this project, it's not just 3D photography. We also are accessioning them in a database. So every object has its own number, so it can identify it and keep track of all the objects coming into the collection. And we're also doing condition assessments, so that involves measuring the artefacts, stating what kind of damage there is, if there's any conservation that needs to happen.
This is one of the first pop-up museums that we've done featuring the Earl of Abergavenny collection, and it's been better than we could have possibly imagined.
My favourite is the 8 real coin. It's a piece of 8. And I was so excited when I realised that was what that was. I was leaping around the museum going, pieces of 8!
We've got activities for very small children right through to adults, everyone in between. We're here to talk to people. We've got diving equipment children can help try on. We've got family foreshore packs so people can go out on the foreshore and try and be an archaeologist for the day as well. And we've got simple things like making badges. But the hope is that people will go away from today and they'll really start to think about what is underneath the water and actually start to value heritage as well.
Understanding the past, I think, is really important. And I think even just on an individual level, understanding where you come from, understanding your experiences in life dictates how you've become an individual that you are today, and obviously shapes your future.
The most fascinating thing for me was learning about John Wordsworth, because he's actually buried in the church a minute away from me, and I didn't even know.
When you're at home a lot of the time you can get a bit isolated, and I think this connects you back to society and to meet new people who've got a similar kind of interest to you.
There was an enormous interest from the local community in this project because of the location of the ship that went down and its relation to all the other ships.
It's a connection that it just kind of makes our surroundings closer to us in a personal way.
Well, it's tremendous potential. I mean, I can see that obviously everything we do here today can be linked to larger central museums such as London, whatever, and then can be spread out to other areas of interest around the country.
It's the persistence of the volunteers and the enthusiasm that's driven it forward.
There we go, a very interesting project there at Portland Museum. And of course, link with Wyke Regis here that the many of the people that perished on the Earl of Abergavenny, including John Wordsworth mentioned in that video, are buried at All Saints Church at Wyke Regis. But do pay Portland Museum a visit. They are at 217 Wycombe, which is right down Portland next to Rupert Castle and Pennsylvania Castle. And if you want to see some of their finds that they've digitally catalogued online and look at them in 3D, the website is www.portlandmuseum.co.uk Earl-of-Abergavenny. Lots of information there on their website as well. So well done to Portland Museum and all those volunteers who've been involved in that project and making those artefacts digitally recorded so they can be seen all over the world by people, and obviously making information available. Now, our second piece this evening. Each week in our What's On section, we tell you about shows happening at Weymouth Pavilion. Now, it always amazes me that as a community interest company, mainly run by volunteers, Weymouth Pavilion has such a busy programme of shows, concerts and other events, and far more than when the pavilion as a venue was run professionally by a group of paid people and was trying to make a profit, obviously. Even the range of music alone is absolutely amazing, from rock and heavy metal through to opera at the other extreme. There is literally something on their programme for everyone. And if you haven't taken the time to go to the Weymouth Pavilion website and see what they've got coming up, there are multiple shows each week of the year and lots of different stuff for everyone. Now, next Friday, the 17th of February, is the time for 50s and 60s music. Now, Rave On is a brand new show that promises a thrilling tour through music's most revolutionary decades, starring the Blue Jays, the UK's ultimate 50s and 60s band. Chasing away the winter blues with a fabulous feel-good step back in time, the Blue Jays make a welcome return to the pavilion with their new show. Rave On is a musical adventure presented in authentic concert style that follows the emergence of rock and roll at Sun Records in Memphis, Tennessee, to the British invasion and beyond. Now, fortunately, we've been given a bit of a film from the Rave On tour, and I thought it would be good just to show you the standard of music and shows that is coming up at Weymouth Pavilion. So this is Rave On featuring the Blue Jays.
Oh, I hear the little things that you say and do make me want to be with you. Rave on, it's a crazy feeling, and I know it's got me reeling when you say I love you. Rave on, rave on, tell me not to be lonely. Tell me you love me only. Rave on to me.
There we go, and that's just one excerpt of one show at the Weymouth Pavilion. And when we come to our What's On section at the end, you'll hear just some of the other things coming up in the next few weeks. But I say there's a full programme throughout the year. Have a look, see if there's something there for you. Okay, so it's time in the programme for our film review and preview, and we go over to regular contributor Andrew Wright for this week's film review and preview.
Welcome to Wyke Regis TV Film Review and Preview. I'm Andrew Wright. This weekend, Super Bowl 57 takes the internet by storm, with it being the latest and biggest game in the American football season. But film fans have more reason to be excited, as the yearly Super Bowl features a series of highly anticipated film trailers that are released online throughout the course of the game. Some famous previous examples from previous years would be the trailer for the second Doctor Strange film, which revealed the involvement of Patrick Stewart, and the trailer for the Cloverfield Paradox, the third film in the Cloverfield franchise, which had a surprise release on Netflix after the 2018 game. This year's selection of trailers is rumoured to include the trailer for the feature film version of The Flash, which will reset the DC universe. Other rumoured trailers include the trailer for Fast and Furious 10, which will release early on February 10th, which hasn't taken place at the time of writing and recording this. There are also rumoured to be trailers for the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Scream 6, Transformers Rise of the Beasts, Pixar's Elemental, and a trailer for Marvel's The Marvels, also being rumoured for a debut. I will make sure to keep a note on any interesting and or unexpected trailers that debut, so stay tuned. Next Wednesday is the release of a British independent horror slasher film that puts a dark twist on the Winnie the Pooh books, titled Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. The film follows Pooh and Piglet, who have become feral and bloodthirsty murderers after Christopher Robin left for college, and so they decide to terrorise a group of young university students. The film is independent, produced on a budget of under $100,000 in a collaboration with ITN Studios, and was only made possible due to the original 1926 book entering the public domain in the US, enabling people to adapt the original book as long as it doesn't match the depictions of the characters in any of the films produced by Disney, who still retain exclusive copyright to the family-friendly character depictions that were originally intended. The film is already a moderate box office success from its early premiere in Mexico, with a sequel with a bigger budget being in development for a 2024 release, as well as horror films based on Bambi and Peter Pan also being in development. Release is expected to be limited, so you'll have to check out online to see if there is any information for your local cinema. Anticipation builds for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the latest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe ahead of its release next week, after it had its world premiere this week. The film features a returning cast of Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas, as well as introducing Catherine Newton to the Ant-Man cast as Scott Lang's daughter, and properly introducing Jonathan Majors to the larger MCU as the new big bad Kang the Conqueror, after previously appearing as a variant of the character titled He Who Remains in the Season 1 finale of Loki. The film revolves around Rudd's Scott Lang enjoying his popularity after the events of Avengers Endgame, until Lang and the rest of the main cast get dragged into a new adventure in the quantum realm that puts them up against Kang. The film kicks off Marvel's fifth phase and draws them closer to the next Avengers film, with conversations already beginning for a fourth Ant-Man film. That's all I have for this week, but be sure to check back in next week where I will preview Quantumania's opening weekend. Now back to Gary in the studio.
Thank you very much there, Andrew. And we do have a film trailer for you this week. Warner Brothers have released a trailer this week for a film that's coming up in April. It's from award-winning director Ben Affleck, and it's called Air. Air reveals the unbelievable game-changing partnership between the then-rookie Michael Jordan and Nike's fledgling basketball division, which revolutionised the world of sport and contemporary culture with the Air Jordan brand. This moving story follows the career-defining gamble of an unconventional team with everything on the line. The uncompromising vision of a mother who knows the worth of her son's intense talent, and the basketball phenomenon who would become the greatest of all time. So we have it for you now. It's Air from Warner Brothers Pictures and will be released exclusively in cinemas on the 5th of April this year.
1984 has been a tough year. Our sales are down, our growth is down.
Sonny, I brought you in here to grow the basketball business.
People don't know what the hell a Nike is.
What's a Converse?
NBA All-Star shoe.
There's nothing cool about Nike.
You would have to have a pretty compelling pitch.
I can tell them the one thing the other companies can't compete with. Our basketball division is terrible.
I do not love it. This is where you come up with a brilliant idea that no one else can see. Let's hear it.
I got it.
I found him. Who's that? Jesus? Can't afford it.
I'm willing to bet my career on one guy.
My name's Sonny Vaccaro. I'm with Nike.
Do you typically make it a habit of showing up at people's front doors unannounced?
I don't like to take no for an answer. Oh, man. Here we go. You asked me what I do here. This is what I do. I find you players, and I feel it this time. Yeah, okay, it's risky. When you were selling sneakers out of the back of your Plymouth, that was risky. Don't change that now.
For a rookie?
Yes.
Who's never set foot on an NBA court.
That's the literal definition of rookie, yeah.
What's the plan?
We build a shoe line around just him.
I need the greatest basketball shoe that's ever been made.
Who's the player?
Michael Jordan.
Your motor is
You have our attention.
You show up at the house.
I believe in your son. I believe he's the future. And his story is gonna make us want to fly. But a shoe is just a shoe.
Until my son steps into it.
You got a name for it? Air Jordan. I don't know. Seriously?
Maybe it'll grow on me.
There we go, from Warner Brother Pictures, Air. It's the story of Michael Jordan and his relationship with Nike, the sports shoe maker, and the Air Jordan brand that was formed. So true story there. Launching on the 5th of April 2023, exclusively in cinemas. And maybe we'll hear something about that from Andrew. Maybe he'll review that film and give us his thoughts on it in a future week. Now it's time for the national weather forecast. So we go over to the Met Office to see what the weather has in store for us this weekend and in the week ahead. And this week we are joined by Jonathan Vaultry.
Hello there, hope you're enjoying the weekend so far. It has got off to a fairly dry and settled start for many of us, and that is thanks to a ridge of high pressure that's across continental Europe, stretching its way into the UK and keeping those weather fronts at bay to the north. Underneath that area of high pressure, though, there is a fair amount of cloud. So the earlier satellite image shows grey skies for the vast majority. There are some clearer breaks down across parts of eastern Scotland and into parts of eastern England as well. So we could continue to see some brighter spells here as we move into the afternoon. The potential for the cloud to break up a bit in other locations, but it could be rather fleeting, and many of us will stay on the cloudy side at least. Despite the cloud, will stay dry and actually relatively mild for the time of year. Temperatures holding up in those double-digit figures for many of us, perhaps 13, maybe even 14 degrees across parts of Aberdeenshire, thanks to that southerly flow of air. Into the evening periods then, the cloud remaining in place for the vast majority, but we will see some longer breaks at times, I think particularly across parts of northeast Scotland and then parts of Wales later on in the night as well. So it's here where temperatures could drop down a bit more. Low single figures are possible, maybe a patchy frost in the most sheltered rural locations. But where we hold onto the cloud, it will stay frost-free for the vast majority of us, and most towns and cities holding up around 5 to 7 degrees Celsius. So a relatively cloudy but mild start to Sunday morning, and it will remain fairly cloudy once again across southeastern areas, that grey sky is really persisting. Across the west though, where the breeze begins to pick up, that will help break the cloud up a bit more. So I think southwest England, Wales, parts of Northern Ireland, Northern Scotland as well, seeing a bit of a brighter day on Sunday compared to Saturday. Temperatures, again, doing quite well for the time of year and above average. Most of us getting towards those double-digit figures again, perhaps slightly cooler for parts of eastern Scotland, but still around 10 to 11 degrees Celsius. We retain that similar picture as we move throughout the overnight period. Again, the cloud wanting to break up a bit more in places, so perhaps an increased risk of a chillier night for parts of northern Scotland and Wales, southwest England as we move into the start of the new working week. High pressure, though, is going to stay with us, so it will remain dry as we move into Monday. But as we move towards the middle part of the week, we will potentially see some rain begin to push its way in from the west, so it could turn a bit more unsettled for some later, but temperatures staying relatively mild for the time of year. Do keep up to date with the forecast as we move into the new week, and you can do that by following us on all of our social media sites. And of course, we'll see you again here on the app, YouTube, and the website soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. And let's see what the local weather has in store for us throughout the coming week. And there we go. Looks to be good, particularly Monday. Going to be very sunny, but we have sunshine throughout the week. Moderately warm. Chance of a little bit of rain on Thursday. So it doesn't look too bad a week, and certainly not the usual winter cold temperatures that we would normally be expecting this time of year. So nice and mild, nice chance to get out for a walk, do a bit of tidying up in the garden or something like that this week. Okay, so let's turn that off. Where's it gone? There we go. And now it's time for our What's On. This week at Weymouth Pavilion, or in the weeks ahead, 16th of February, Spirit of the Dance. 17th of February, Rave On, which we showed you a snapshot of earlier, 50s and 60s music. 18th of February, the Big Country Music Show. 19th of February, Sunday night with comedian Rosie Jones. 24th of February, Bye Bye Baby. 25th of February, UK Pink Floyd Experience. 1st of March, going to the other extreme, Macbeth. And 8th of March, That'll Be the Day. Pavilion box office online, weymouthpavilion.com, to see all those shows for the year ahead. As I say, there's plenty there to see and plan for the year ahead. Or to get tickets by telephone, 01305 783 225. That's 01305 783 225. Now, the No Thought starts its half-term special. World War II week started today and runs through until the 19th of February. Join them for a journey back to Weymouth in World War II this half-term, they're saying. Now, you can try various wartime roles. They've got about 10 different roles that you can get involved in at the fort. And if you complete 5 roles to help the war effort, you can complete your very own logbook as you go round taking part in those different roles. Now, on Saturday the 18th and Sunday the 19th, next weekend, they'll be joined by the D-Day Centre with some military vehicles and deactivated World War II weapons. So that will be good as well. They've also got their classified bunker Cold War weekend on the 25th of February, where you can learn the story of the No Thought's Cold War bunker through an immersive guided tour. So you can No Thought invites you to explore the Weymouth's hidden secret and offers a captivating insight into the turbulent circumstances ordinary civilians and those working and living in the bunker found themselves in. So they will be running that on the 25th. And as we've said before, their Springtoberfest is on the 11th of March and the Science Day on the 19th of March. Now, turning to other entertainment, Arts Reach have got a packed programme this week for half-term week with many things specifically for families and children. First of all, this weekend, tomorrow, Janice Burns and John Doran, Anglo-Scottish duo, come together after discovering a shared love of traditional music. They've got a concert Sunday, the 12th, tomorrow at Langton Travis Village Hall. Then there's the Fragments Project's Dance Company. They're on Friday the 10th at 7:30 at Holstock Village Hall near Yeovil, and Saturday the 11th at Martinstown Village Hall, a bit closer to Hansel and Gretel by Paddleboat Theatre. That's Monday the 13th at 11 AM at Sixpenny Handley Village Hall. Georgia and the Iceberg by Dorset Born Theatre, Wednesday the 15th, 10:30 at Child Oakford Village Hall. Thursday the 16th, 10:30 Winfrith Village Hall. Thursday the 16th at 3:30 Broadwindsor Comrades Hall. And then The King of Nothing by Monstro Theatre, that's a puppet show, Friday the 17th, 11 AM at Lytton Cheney Community Hall. If you just go on the internet and search for Dorset Arts Reach, you'll see details about all of those shows and their locations, and you'll be able to buy tickets online. Now, church services this weekend in Wyke, Regis at 8 o'clock tomorrow, All Saints Church, a communion service, 9:30 the main parish communion service, which is also live streamed, and 11 o'clock St Edmund's Church at Lane House, a communion service there. Our other programme is on tonight, our Saturday night quiz, 7:30 live in just about 40 minutes, just checking the time there. The stream will be live about 7:15, 7:20, so you can get connected and settled. Everybody's welcome, that's free, it's for the whole community, it's family friendly, and all are welcome to join us. If you missed the February version of A Year Gardening with Clive Gray, where Clive talks about all his projects for 2023, you can watch that on Catch Up on either YouTube or one of the Facebooks by replaying the live video, which should be stored up there for you to replay. Now, traffic and travel this week, it's going to be quite busy in the local area. We mentioned those daytime and nighttime road closures for resurfacing. Also, roadworks with lights or likely to cause disruption at the junction of Buxton, the junction of Lanehouse, Rocks Road and Fremantle Road. The roadworks there ongoing at the moment. The lights aren't there today, but the works are still underway, and maybe the lights will be back there on Monday. Now, the junctions with Buxton Road and Crossroads, there's work going on Crossroads over this half term to widen and rearrange pavements. Glennyway Chickerell, as we said, is resurfacing. Radipole Lane, nighttime closure for resurfacing. The roadworks at Dorset Road by Morrison's continue. Roadworks at Preston Road and Littermore Road as well. Looking at the rail services, there is a bus replacement service tomorrow on South Western Railways between Bournemouth and Poole. So if you're travelling from Weymouth up towards London, or from London down towards Weymouth tomorrow, there will be an interruption to your journey and a bus replacement service there. And don't forget those nighttime works this week, with last trains out of Waterloo at 21:35 and last trains out of Weymouth at 19:59 or 7:59. Well, there we go. That brings us to the end of another Saturday evening news programme. I will be back with you next Saturday at 6 o'clock as usual. If you have any news for us or any events you'd like us to share with the community, or any fundraising efforts that you're involved in, then do drop us a line during the week at news@Wyke Regis TV. We're always pleased to hear from you. Our email is available 24/7. And we'll get back to you if we need any further information, but we will be pleased to share things with the local community here in Wyke Regis, across Weymouth and Portland, South Dorset and beyond in our normal weekly programme. I hope you have a good weekend, and I hope the week ahead is good for you. And if you've got family off with you this week because it's half term, I hope you find some good things to do and the weather is kind to you all. And I look forward to being back with you next weekend. Good night.